Oh, hello and welcome back. Thought I'd give you a bit of a plot tour 1st of June. Appreciate I've not been particularly on top of doing my monthly plot tours. I think the last one was April. As you can see, I've almost completely cleared this last compost run. I am going to put this mix that into one of my compost heaps, or two of my compost heaps more to the point. I'll show you that in a minute. Got quite a long way with automation, so the pump and timer unit, which you'll have seen in one of my previous videos, I've got one installed in here as well. I haven't used it to fill those yet, and I haven't run the pipe work, but we have one installed. I'll show you that in a moment. Other than that, now the 1st of June, so asparagus has been left to flower since Saturday. Absolutely dreadful this year for asparagus beetle. You know, every day I'm coming down and every day I'm pulling off 20 or 30 between this and the other bed. My onions, these are the overwintered ones. As you can see, some of them are a pretty decent size already, so we'll be harvesting those soon. However, I have had a huge proportion run to seed, so it's what happens when you get this weird cold warm weather. Just doesn't like it. Just show you inside the shed. That's the unit for in here, all ready to go. So obviously solar's fully in. It's charging the batteries, but I haven't got the pump installed, just not hooked it up to anything. You can see all these beds badly need weeding. I've been working on fairly major infrastructure projects, so weeding has been a last resort. That will be this week's jobs, really, is every day come down and weed a few beds. My garlic, really quite liking this. I mean, we've got another month or even 6, maybe even 7 weeks before I harvest this, but it's really starting to shape up nicely. I think we're going to get a decent harvest this year. Broad beans, not looking so well. These are the ones I planted for. Oh, geez. Quite windy. Yeah, these are the ones I planted for a friend of mine and done nothing. Okay, so we have tomatoes planted through plastic. This plastic was destined for the skip. A friend of mine who's a waste clearance person got it from a building site, said, "Oi, I've got this, do you want some?" And I said, "Yes please." I don't normally use black plastic to top beds, but this year keeping on top of the weeds has been so difficult. I've elected to do that for a good chunk of my beds. So yeah, this is tomatoes. These are the outdoor ones. Legend, single genome, blight resistant, so hopefully some resistance to blight. And these are a determinate or a bush type tomato. So these will come up, form a bush. You don't train them. You don't do anything with them. You just let them get on with it. Apart from maybe taking a few of the lower leaves off. But then all of their fruit ripens at the same time. So. And as the vast majority of my outdoor tomatoes are for canning and processing into sauces, chopped tomatoes, peeled plum tomatoes, that kind of thing, it's perfect for me for that. So that was where a bed of overwintered leeks were. They are all gone and chopped up and in the freezer now. Got quite a significant, I think, at the end of year harvest, which normally we don't have much left. We've eaten them all. But this year we had something like 12 kilos, so keep us tidied over till the new ones are in. Another blank bed, a few rogue strawberry runners in between, another blank bed. Raspberries, if you see my previous ones, this was absolutely choked with grass. It's starting to come back, so it just needs another weed. That one back there is a strawberry bed. That definitely and desperately needs a weed. That's actually my job for tomorrow, is to come down and weed that exclusively. We've got the asparagus bed. Like I said, it's now the end of the asparagus season for us. And look at these buggers, I picked these off. That is asparagus beetle. It's been a dreadful year for them, so I'll come and get those again in a minute. But we've got quite a lot of spears still coming up. They'll be left to go to fern to replenish the energy inside the rootstocks. If I get the energy, I plan to lift the entire bed, basically take all of the compost and soil out, sieve it for the minutest trace of this poisonous blight, and put it back again. I have weeded this bed approximately every 3 weeks. We're now at the end of harvest season, so I might be a little less rigorous with it. Depends really on what time I get. If I've got time, I'll weed it. If I don't, I don't. And we've got 2 full to overflowing strawberry beds, doing really well. No fruits as yet, nothing ripe as yet, but plenty of fruits on the developing fruits on the bed. So yeah, that's going to be a good harvest. This is going to be where my peas are going. They're at home at the moment, and they'll be coming out probably in the next week. And I'll plant both sides of this chain link fencing effectively, and they'll be able to scramble that up to their heart's content. These are metal poles, and these are driven probably 3 feet, including the depth of the bed, into the soil, so they ain't going nowhere. I have had issues in the past of, particularly with beans and things, it becoming a sail, but not in that case. These 2 are my onion beds for the sets. These are Sturon. They'll be joined by some seeds in the not too distant future, some seed sown babies, but I'll decide as and when I put those in. Those will be, I'll show you in a moment. That's a blank bed. That's a very weedy, overwintered onion bed. Virtually everything there has gone to seed, so they'll be pulled out. And by the way, onions that do go to seed I don't waste. I'll pull them out, I will peel and chop them, and they'll go into the freezer. Just makes my life, when I'm doing things like, I know, that require a lot of onion, like chicken tikka, things like that, makes my life easier then. I've just planted these 2 out. These are Red Swan and Tender Green. Tender Green is new to me this year, not tried those before. Red Swan I grew last year, loved them, fantastic colour. I've got a lot of seed. The aim is that essentially as I take crops out, so as those onions and those garlic comes out, those beds will be prepared, and I'll just put more bush beans in because they're relatively quick to harvest. I'll just keep sowing them at home until we've got successionals. Over here, I've just left this in because I love it. I think it's fantastic in architectural. That's Vulcan, one of the the last remaining of the chard. And then down here I've got some celeriac. It's been absolutely decimated by the slugs. All of my celery, bar these 2 here, are gone. I have got some more celeriac, but no more celery at home, so that will come down. I am starting to apply to the beds bit by bit iron phosphate slug pellets. I haven't bothered on the beans as yet, purely because they've only just gone in literally yesterday. I put those in, so I'll pop some around there. And we've got my 2 beds of Shallots. As you can probably see, all of it's going to seed again, same as everything else. It's just been a dreadful year for the overwintered alliums. I've never had a shallot go to seed before. So, you know, these are banana shallots, so they don't have a tendency for it. Again, I need to get in there and give them a weed, but we're not far off harvest, to be perfectly honest. If you look at the thickness of these down here, you know, they're not small. Yeah, and this is my spinach bed. I need to take a good cropping of this spinach off to keep it going. You'll see I've started to plant some seed for some replenishment, some replacements after that. So baby leaf spinach, and that's probably harvestable now. So I'll start taking some of that. Plum tree, Victoria plum this year, looking good. think I'm going to have a decent harvest. I've expanded my composting base. You'll see that this section here is made out of blue pallets. The blue does not indicate it's been treated. The blue indicates that it's owned, and the owner of these ones, they were basically beyond sustainable use, and the owner did give permission for me to take them. So if they're blue or they're red, remember they're owned by somebody. Whoever it is that has the products delivered is supposed to return those to the distribution centre. I got these from the distribution centre because they're knackered. And they were happy for me to take them, so that's fine. Started to empty some of the woody material from the early part of last year on into this bed to fill this one up. That one is full already. This one's getting there, making sandwich layers. I've probably got to sieve it. There's some big stuff in there that needs to go back into there for another year, but there's quite a decent chunk of compost in the bottom there as well. That one I've got to sort out. Effectively all of that's got to go into one of these. Over here, my raised beds, my big beds, as you can see, parsnips have done fantastically. I'm going to let them grow a bit more before I start to thin, but it won't be long before I start thinning those. Carrots, dismal failure. I've started to see them come up 3 or 4 times, and every time slugs have had them instantly. I think I saw one lonely one here, and I think there's another lonely one up here somewhere that I saw. There we go. I must have planted 500 seed in that. Some tape, some pellet, some loose. So we'll see. This one isn't used yet. Normally, the plan was that would be my early carrot bed, and then a month or so later I'd sow this one. I haven't even bothered with that. I've got some. I suspect it's wild garlic coming up in here. Just definitely smells garlic or oniony. But hey, it's just the lids and the slats from the side of that. Gooseberry bush that I hoiked out and put into a pot, doing fantastically. Don't know if you can see, but gonna have a good harvest of goosegogs this year. Not just that, but in the pens as well. These are my surplus onion sets. I have a home for these, and then these are my seed sown onions and leeks. We've got Musselburgh leeks. Quite a few of those. There's some Red Baron in the corner there. These are Shallots. Really struggled with the Shallots from seed. I always do, but particularly bad this year. And then these are Snails of Craig, and I've got just a couple of spare Brassicas. I think there's a couple of Calabrese and a Romanesco in there. Doing some work on the shed. I'm going to put another bench in. Again, I've got Timus, etc. That pump's got to be replaced. It's far too small. I can't get the fitments for it, so that one's going to be going. Got a few self-sown sweet peas. I say self-sown. These were the ones that got knocked in the wind off my little shelves. They're the only ones that survived. That basically everything needs to go around with a weed eater, so a string trimmer or actually weed. But I've done this twice so far, so it's getting on top of it. Needs a good hand weed really, but yeah, all of the plants are still alive. I'm not taking a harvest from them at the moment. Don't need to. The ones at home are more than I can possibly consume. You'll see I've started to net the fruit cage. That needs to be done before the cherries get closer to harvest, so that's a job to finish fairly shortly. I'm almost there now. Along this edge here there will be a relatively narrow timber trough. That's going to hold my melons, my spare melons, which I'm hoping will scramble up and over the netting this year. Blueberries are starting to get invaded a bit. That one has got a phenomenal chunk of flowers on it, so we'll see if I actually get any blueberries off it this year. I'm not holding my breath, but again, I don't know if you can see, but those gooseberry plants are absolutely laden with gooseberries this year. So yeah, this is first of the Brassica Tunnels. These are mostly cabbages and cauliflowers. Oh, and sprouts in the middle. Down here, some really bad slug damage again. I've got the slug pellets, I just need to apply them. And they have a good weed at the same time, so I'm going to take the netting off and give that a good weed. This bed is the Taunton Dean cow down the end, and then some broccoli, some fast growing broccoli rabe, and I've just seen, look at all that damage. I think that's a partial, and up this end it's Calabrese, but there's very few of these left, they've all been munched. Yeah, between slugs and flea beetles, all that bed's taken hammering. These are my outdoor tomatoes, or another bed of outdoor tomatoes. So we have the small one up the front, and then we've got there's two big ones here. This one is uncovered. You can see I've put some slug pellets down. Remember, iron phosphate slug pellets, not the traditional poisonous ones. Iron phosphate is completely safe. If Mr. Hedgehog or Mr. Toad or Frog decides to eat the slugs that have been killed on these, it's completely wildlife safe, so always do that. This bed we shan't even discuss. That is my last major bed to clear. As you can see, it's almost a wildflower meadow in and of itself, but actually it shouldn't be. It's supposed to be an onion bed from last year. I'm going to dig all the onions out. What I do with that bed afterwards, I'm not sure yet. The last of the tomato beds. This one's covered. Yeah, I do a lot of outdoor tomatoes. This bed, not quite sure what I'm going to put in here yet. I haven't decided. But these are white lady runners. Now, white lady runners usually are perennial to a degree. You know, they build root corms under the ground, and then in the spring they use those to fire up again. If you want to see more about that, have a look at Liz Zorab's videos on the subject. However, this year was so bitterly cold, it went so low for so long, I think it's killed the corms. I've not had anything come up, so these are all freshly planted from seed. Coming around here, we've got the borlottis on this side, same as last year. I'm not afraid to put things in the same place. This bed here is going to have the butternut squash in. I'm of two minds. I might run butternuts down that side as well and just have them go around in a circle so they don't take over everywhere. On this side, this one is quite a wide bed. It's a 6 foot wide, 16 foot long bed. These are the blue Hubbards. Now, I did have quite a lot. Unfortunately, the slugs like them. So what I've got is I've got two survivors that have gone in as plants, and then I've planted in a couple of holes just some more seed. They're pretty quick, they'll be up in a week. Surrounded by lots of slug pellets, so hopefully that will be enough to see those to fruition. And again, I'm gonna circle those a bit like Cliff at Castle Hill does. Potato bed, I think pretty much everybody's up now. So, you know, first early's down this side. Main crop Sapomira, that one's Shallots. Yeah, looking good. Had a bit of a weed eat. Still haven't propped that up other than tying it in position to stop it from flapping around in the wind. But hey, it is what it is. And then in the poly tunnel, if I can get into it, there we go. Loads of rubbish on the floor. This was again a gift. This was had a roll of clear and a roll of black, so I had both of them. Yeah, so in this corner we've got the spring onions that I have been in here for 3 years or so now, and I keep them in here and I use them for seed. So every year they'll throw up a few more spikes, and every year I get plenty of spring onion seed. I think I might have overdone it this year. And again, these are volunteer potatoes that have come up in this spot every year for donkeys. Every time I think I've got them all out, there's still more there. Peppers and melons. Melons are loving this heat. Flowers all over the place. You'll see this is my box. You'll see there's a pump missing. That's because I'm an idiot. This is the filter. You'll note that it is after the pump. What I need is a filter before the pump, because the pump has got itself jammed full of grit and rubbish and junk from either pumping into the tub or pumping from the tub. So I've got to take that home, clean it out and reassemble it, and then fit my filter before the inlet. That doesn't take a genius to work out, but hey. These are some of my spare melons, tons and tons of them. I mean, if you look at this one, there's flowers all over the shop. And we've got cucumbers down there, and these are again legend. These are just some spare tomatoes, because I had some spares, and they are, as you can see, 4 or 5 times the size of the ones that were outside, exactly the same age. And in here we've got 3 sun gold, which is more than enough judging by last year. And then my grapevine. This is a pink grape variety, and I've just noticed it's 3 years old now. That's the first grapes I've got on it. This is going to have a heavy prune in the not too distant future. I do want to put a couple of trailing leaders, so this one, for example, I want to get them up and along and basically to fan out, but the vast majority of these are going to get snipped off. And, well, frankly, I'll take them home, stick them in pots and see if I can propagate them. And that's that. So, looking down the plot, the back plot, this is what it looks like at the moment. I should do the same in the front plot in a second. And the front plot. So yeah, getting there, a bit more organised this year, not quite as far behind as last year in terms of keeping on top of the weeding. I think yeah, next season should be much more manageable. Even later on this season, if I spend the evenings this week weeding, that will be a different picture again by the time that we come back at the start of July for the July tour, which I'm determined to do. Yeah, may even have some things that are harvesting that's not just overwintered leeks and some salad. I'll see you then.